Hello, welcome back. My name is Johanna, and today we are doing business management, specifically chapter 4.1. And don't worry, I'll go backwards and do the other chapters, but not right now because I have a mini mock in a couple days on chapter 4. So, I just want to point out before we start, I'm very aware of the fact that the arrow is going in the wrong direction, and I care enough to point it out, but I don't care enough to change it, so Chapter 4.1 is the role of marketing. So the first thing we'll be going through is the role of marketing in relation to the functions of a business. So what is marketing? So the book defines marketing as the management process of getting the right product to the right customer at the right price and at the right time and place. When you think of marketing, you probably just think of advertisement and stuff like that. And yes, that is a part of marketing, but the main part of marketing is to do the market research, to tailor to a certain audience, to find out what the customer's taste is, what their preferences are, stuff like that. So it's not just about the actual creation of the advertisements. So if you take the IB Business Management course, this is probably a model you have seen before. So basically it's the resources, which can be human, physical, or financial, or enterprise resources. And then it's the actual production, which is the processes to add value. And this is where the actual functions of a business take place. This is HR, human resources, operations, marketing, and finance and accounting. And then you get the output, which is the goods or the services you are creating. Now, all of these functions of a business interact with each other. So I'm going to explain how marketing specifically interacts with all the other functions of a business. So HR and marketing. This works in the sense of, for marketing, when you find what customer wants, the customer demands, this could lead to a demand of more people as well, because you might need people who are specialized in employees that are specialized in certain things. You might need more employees to make more products. Finance, it's to look at the budgets. How much are you allowed to use on the advertisements? How much are you allowed to use on the market research? Now, most likely, the people in finance will tell the people in marketing to stick to the budget, obviously, and if they don't, this could lead to a conflict. Operations, basically this is everything. Operations and marketing have to work together to fix everything. Make sure they're meeting all the customer demands when making the product and stuff like that, because otherwise the business will not be successful. So the marketing of goods versus services. So there are some few and very clear distinctions between products, goods, and services. Some of these are that goods are tangible, goods can be returned. So if you don't like what you bought, you can return it. Of course, this depends on the specific businesses because some companies will not let you return your products. They can be stored and consumed later. There is ownership of the product, and goods are also very easy to compare because they might be similar or have like similar characteristics that are easy to contrast and say which one is better or worse. Now, services, on the other hand, are intangible. They cannot be taken back. They cannot be stored. There's no ownership. And also, services are more difficult to compare because a customer's experience may be different every single time they go to the same company, and obviously services are generally speaking not exactly the same and rely a lot on good customer service, which obviously depends on the specific person you are talking to. An example of this would be the product, which is a toothbrush, versus a service, which is someone cleaning your teeth. I don't know where you would go to do that, but let's pretend that's a thing. Obviously, this service is not tangible. You can't touch the fact that someone is cleaning your teeth. I mean, yes, you can physically touch the person who is cleaning your teeth, but you can't touch the action. It's harder to compare because someone may clean your teeth more thoroughly the first time you go and then less the second time you go. Meanwhile, the actual toothbrush, the product, you can compare the bristles, the handle, how it feels in your hand, stuff like that. Now, another aspect of goods versus services when it comes to marketing is that for goods, you can rely on a specific characteristic. So when I market, I can say, oh, my toothbrush has the best bristles because they reach the closest to your gums, or, something like that. And it relies on the 4 P's of marketing, which is price, product, promotion, and place. So when it comes to services, you have to rely on good customer service and the 7 P's. So this would be an additional people, processes, and physical evidence. In most companies, there are aspects of both services and products, so they would use all of these. There will be more about the 4 P's and the 7 P's coming soon when we talk about the marketing mix in chapter 4.3. So companies can either be product orientated or market orientated. So these are 2 different approaches. So product orientation basically means that you are being innovative. You're creating products and then trying to sell them. You're creating something new and essentially using Shay's law, which is the idea that by having the supply will create the demand instead of having the demand to create the supply. So this is making new products. Meanwhile, market orientation means that you are focusing on the established customer demand and you are supplying the customer with what they need and what they want. So advantages of market orientation are that the results of the market research will increase your likelihood of not failing, so reduce your likelihood of failure because you know that there is a demand for your product. And the access to this information about your customer means that you can respond quickly to changes. And you can anticipate changes as well because you have this research. You can also be put in a strong position to meet the challenges of new competitors entering the market because you get so much feedback that you know how to be the best. So the advantages of being product orientated is that you are usually associated with high quality products such as luxury cars and stuff like that. It can also be successful in industries where the speed of change is slow because you are making something new and the speed of change is very slow, so you're going to be very successful because you're bringing these new things to the table. You also have control over all your activities and you have this strong belief and willpower that your customers will purchase your products. But of course, there are disadvantages as well. Disadvantages for market orientation is that your research could be very costly. It would cost a lot for your firm to have all this research be done and for it to be analyzed and so on and so forth. And due to the frequent changes in taste, it can be overwhelming for the company to try and meet every customer's need with the available resources. And uncertainty about the future could have a negative influence on market planning strategy. This means that you could potentially, out of worry or out of being misled or not knowing what is going to happen, you might choose a strategy that is not actually appropriate for what actually ends up happening. Now, for product orientation, Issues can be that you're increasing the risk of your business to fail due to not knowing if your product actually is wanted or needed. And you're spending a lot of money on research, but you're not considering the customer's needs or what their demand is when you're doing this research, which means that this research could just essentially not be able to be used for anything, or you might not get the results you were looking for, and it might just be a waste of your money. And also, with what I said before, with the willpower, of course, willpower is nice, but it is not. You definitely need more than willpower to get someone to actually buy your product. So, commercial marketing, this is essentially just how you market for products that a customer needs or wants. You are not making judgments on the buying habits of the customers. You are just using the appropriate strategies to market to this customer or this specific type of customer. And you're tailoring specifically to the type of product the commercial is selling. So the strategies may be the traditional focus, which is using billboards, television, advertisements, or local print and media, or online campaigns using Google AdSense or emails. There are a lot of other options as well, but essentially you are just targeting and aiming at a specific demographic.
Social marketing involves using marketing approaches that help bring about change in behavior that ultimately benefits society. So, some advantages of doing this is that it gives the firm a competitive advantage because obviously consumers may see them as better because they're trying to benefit society, and that they can also put premium prices on their goods because obviously they're benefiting society, so they have that reputation. However, it is very hard to get people to change their behaviors, so that could be a disadvantage. So, social media marketing. This is pretty straightforward. This is essentially when a business uses social media to market their products. They're using a technological concept. This enables a firm to get direct feedback, which obviously can be positive because then they can adapt and so on and so forth. It provides a low cost to get to their target audience because obviously social media, it's free to sign up to most social medias, if not all, I'm not sure. It gives the customers a good relationship with the management. It can also enhance your brand since these social media can give the company exposure. However, even though social media marketing is very useful and very popular nowadays, it can be an issue since it's hard to stand out from the crowd and distinguish yourself since there's so many companies on social media. So, market growth. Market growth refers to the percentage change in the market size over a period of time. This can either be based on volume or value. So, value measures the amount spent by customers on the total number of goods sold by the business, and volume is measured by the number of goods bought by customers. Now, market size, this represents the total sales of a business, of all businesses in a given market. Market share is the percentage of one's firm's share of the total sales in a market. So this can be calculated by using this formula. The percentage, remember it's in a percentage, equals firm sales divided by total sales in the market times 100. In this formula, it's measured by value, so the revenue, but you can also measure it in volume, so you just replace the sales volume divided by the total volume in the market. Market share is important to calculate because it can indicate who the market leader is. A market leader is the firm with the highest market share in a given market. Now, there's some benefits to this. You get increased sales because obviously you are selling the most, you're the leader. The business will gain economies of scale and stuff like that. And this could also make your brand more popular since a lot of people want to associate with the most popular brands. However, this can be calculated in many different ways, which means that in one sense you could be the market leader, but in another you might not be. It differs with the volume and value. It differs with the period of time you choose. And obviously, there could be changes during the period of time, and the types of products you include may also influence the calculation. So, marketing objectives for profit organizations and nonprofit organizations. So, as you can probably tell from their names, the profit organization is aiming to satisfy the customer's needs and wants in a profitable way. Therefore, their sole marketing objective is to be profitable and identify and design and develop market strategies that will ultimately be profitable. So, nonprofit organizations mostly engage in marketing for more social marketing reasons. They want to change a behavior, they want to help people, and things like that. And they have to rely on donations. They are also using marketing techniques to improve their reputation. The main difference would be that nonprofit organizations are trying to make a change, not be profitable. They have to rely on donations, so they have limited financing, and they always have to be ethical to show that they're socially responsible. So, change in customer preferences. So, what a company needs to remember is to keep a lookout for what the customer's preferences are and how it changes over time. For instance, maybe customers want to only buy animal friendly products or environmentally friendly products, and so on and so forth. And companies have to start adapting to this because otherwise they might fail, lose all their money, go bankrupt, so on and so forth. Ways to change your marketing strategy would be to look at the Ansoff model and do one of those. So that would be diversification, penetration, and market development or product development. How innovation, ethical considerations, or cultural differences influence the market. So we'll start with innovation. So essentially, this has mostly to do with competitors. You have to be better at marketing than the other competitors. You have to market in new ways. For instance, a lot of companies started social media marketing. However, this could be also a bad thing because now you're no longer marketing to the people without internet and so on and so forth. But that depends on what your target audience is. So, ethical considerations. So, here it's mostly you have to think about all of the things that are changing. You can think about the steeple to see all of the ethical considerations that you have to think about when marketing. You're supposed to market nowadays as environmentally friendly and no animal cruelty, so on and so forth. And that is very important because otherwise you may lose customers because people don't want to work with someone or support someone who is not up to their standard. For instance, there are also laws put in place about ethics, like how you are not allowed to sell cigarettes without there being a label on the cigarette package that says that cigarettes can kill. This is a form of taking social responsibility. Now, for every year, companies are getting more global, and there are a lot of different cultures in this world. So, this would mean tailoring your marketing to a certain country, could mean maybe targeting a younger audience, since a younger audience likes that certain product compared to in the original country you were in. Maybe with food, it could be tailoring to, for instance, Muslims in countries that have a lot of Muslims, or adding specific foods that only exist in certain locations because they're very connected to the culture. This chapter is obviously an introduction chapter, so I guess it's not that interesting to listen to, but if you're still here, thank you. Feel free to subscribe, like, comment. Follow me at Johanna Frennert on Instagram, and goodbye.